Hello, my friends. Welcome to the Living in the Pause conference call. Today's date is August the 3rd, 2016. My name is David Dahm, and I am your host. This call is for anyone that has a desire to start their day with inspiration and the hope of living a more connected, peaceful, and passionate life. We host this call each Monday through Thursday morning from 5:45 to 6:45 a.m. Pacific time, and we read from one of the books that I've personally read and have used as a tool in my transformation. The books include authors such as Don Miguel Ruiz, Marianne Williamson, Wayne Dyer, John C. Maxwell, Brene Brown, and others. Following the reading, we have a time of discussion where members of the group can share their thoughts and experiences based on the day's reading. And we have a Facebook group that you can join called Living in the Pause Online Conference. And the goal there is to become, more of a tribe that can help each other as we share even more about how to live in the moment, grow to be balanced, aligned with our purpose, blessing each other and the world. So we also publish these calls on a podcast. So if you missed the call coming up soon, if you miss it live, you can listen back to it on the podcast, and the links will be posted in the Facebook group. For now as well, we'll be posting in the Facebook group which books were coming up, so you can grab a copy. There are some links to the book, The Four Agreements, which we're currently reading in the Facebook group as well, and you can grab a copy of that from Amazon or obviously wherever you want. So I had a thought, and real quick, I added something, and I will go ahead and implement that or share that with you. And that's simply that, personally myself, there's a lot of things that I do every day, and one of those things that I do every day is pray. And so I just had a quick prayer. God, I surrender to you my message of hope, this call, and everything involving our tribe. Thank you for being with us as we allow space for learning and growing and healing. Amen. So I had a thought, yesterday it was interesting. It was something that came up. Is during the reading, in the middle of the reading, I literally, it was tough. It kind of choked me up a little bit, and there was some emotion there. And I realized that that's going to happen every once in a while. But it was the part where, we were talking about, a young girl, telling a young girl that, that she was ugly when she was growing up, and then that sticking with her forever. And the reason it got to me was because I've had those things happen in my life. And not necessarily that someone called me ugly, just specifically that something, when I was growing up, it stuck with me, and I held on to it. And, like not being enough, thoughts about not being enough, or, things that affected my self-esteem, and literally held on to that for so many years. And it affects your life, and it's really crazy. So that was interesting, and I didn't just assume, that's gonna happen every once in a while. So the book that we're reading again is The Four Agreements. We are currently on page 34 in The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, and that is in chapter 2. And we're talking about the first agreement. So I'm going to back up just one paragraph and read this part real quick, and we'll go ahead and get started. It's talking about our word. So misuse of the word is how we pull each other down and keep each other down in a state of fear and doubt. Because the word is the magic that humans possess, and misuse of the word is black magic. Misuse of the word is black magic. We are using black magic all the time without knowing that our word is magic at all. So we're going to pick up right here where we left off yesterday. There was a woman, for example, who was intelligent and had a very good heart. She had a daughter whom she adored and loved very much. One night she came home from a very bad day at work, tired, full of emotional tension, and with a terrible headache. She wanted peace and quiet, but her daughter was singing and jumping happily. The daughter was unaware of how her mother was feeling. She was in her own world and in her own dream. She felt so wonderful, and she was jumping and singing louder and louder, expressing her joy and her love. She was singing so loud that it made her mother's headache even worse, and at a certain moment the mother lost control. Angrily, she looked at her beautiful little girl and said, "Shut up. You have an ugly voice. Can you just shut up?" The truth is that the mother's tolerance for any noise was non-existent, and it was not that the little girl's voice was ugly, but the daughter believed what her mother said, and in that moment she made an agreement with herself. After that, she no longer sang because she believed her voice was ugly and would bother anyone who heard it. She became shy at school, and if she was asked to sing, she refused. Even speaking to others became difficult for her. Everything changed in that little girl because of this new agreement. She believes she must repress her emotions in order to be accepted and loved. Whenever we hear an opinion and believe it, we make an agreement, and it becomes part of our belief system. This little girl grew up, and even though she had a beautiful voice, she never sang again. She developed a whole complex from one spell. This spell was cast upon her by the one who loved her the most, her own mother. Her mother didn't notice what she did with her word. She didn't notice that she had used black magic and put a spell on her daughter. She didn't know the power of her word, and therefore she isn't to blame. She did what her own mother, father, and others had done to her in many ways. They misused the word. How many times do we do this with our own children? We give them these types of opinions, and our own children carry that black magic for years and years. People who love us do black magic on us, but they don't know what they do. That is why we must forgive them. They don't know what they do. Another example. You awake in the morning feeling very happy. You feel so wonderful. You say, stay 1 or 2 hours in front of the mirror making yourself beautiful. Well, one of your best friends says, what has happened to you? You look so ugly. Look at that dress you're wearing. You look ridiculous. That's it. That is enough to put you all the way down in hell. Maybe this girlfriend just told you this to hurt you, and she did. She gave you an opinion with all the power of her word behind it. If you accept the opinion, it becomes an agreement now, and you put all your power into that opinion. That opinion becomes black magic. These types of spells are difficult to break. The only thing that can break a spell is to make a new agreement based on truth. The truth is the most important part of being impeccable with your word. On one side of the sword are the lies which create black magic, and on the other side of the sword is the truth, which has the power to break the spell of black magic. Only the truth will set us free. Looking at everyday human interactions, imagine how many times we cast spells on each other with our word. Over time, this interaction has become the worst form of black magic. We call it gossip. Gossip is black magic at its very worst because it is pure poison. We learned how to gossip by agreement. When we were children, we heard the adults around us gossiping all the time, openly giving their opinions about other people. They even had opinions about people they didn't know. Emotional poison was transferred along with the opinions, and we learned this as the normal way to communicate. Gossiping has become the main form of communication in society. It has become the way we feel close to each other because it makes us feel better to see someone else feel as badly as we do. There's an old expression that says misery likes company, and people who are suffering in hell don't want to be alone at all. Fear and suffering are an important part of the dream of the planet. They are how the dream of the planet keeps us down. Using the analogy of the human mind as a computer, gossip can be compared to a computer virus. A computer virus is a piece of computer language written in the same language all the other codes are written in, but with a harmful intent. This code is inserted into the program of your computer when you least expect it, and most of the time without your awareness. After this code has been introduced, your computer doesn't work quite right, or it doesn't function at all because the codes get so mixed up with so many conflicting messages that it stops producing good results. Human gossip works the same way exactly. For example, if you're beginning a new class with a new teacher and you've looked forward to it for a long time, on the first day of class, you run into someone who took the class before who tells you, oh, that instructor was such a pompous jerk. He didn't know what he was talking about. He was a pervert, too. So watch out. You're immediately imprinted with the word and the emotional code the person had when saying this. But what you are not aware of is his or her motives in telling you, their motivation. This person could be angry for failing the class or simply making an assumption based on fears and prejudices. But because you've learned to ingest information like a child, some part of you believes the gossip, and you go on to the class. As the teacher speaks, you feel the poison come up inside you, and you don't realize you see the teacher through the eyes of the person who gave you the gossip. Then you start talking to other people in the class about it, and they start to see the teacher in the same way, as a jerk and a pervert. You really hate the class, and soon you decide to drop out. You blame the teacher, but it is the gossip that is to blame. All of this mess can be caused by one little computer virus. One little piece of misinformation can break down communication between people, causing every person it touches to become infected and contagious to others. Imagine that every single time others gossip to you, they insert a computer virus into mind, causing you to think a little less clearly every time. Then imagine that in an effort to clean up your own confusion, you get some relief of the poison. You gossip and spread these viruses to someone else. Now imagine this pattern going on in a never-ending chain between all the humans on Earth. The result is a world full of humans who can only read information through circuits that are clogged with a poisonous, contagious virus. Once again, this poisonous virus is what the Toltecs called the mitote, the chaos of 1,000 different voices, all trying to talk at once in the mind. Even worse are the black magicians or computer hackers who intentionally spread the virus. Think back to a time when you or someone you know was angry with someone else and desired revenge. In order to seek revenge, you said something to or about that person with the intention of spreading poison and making that person feel bad about him or herself. As children, we do this quite thoughtlessly. But as we grow older, we become much more calculated in our efforts to bring other people down. Then we lie to ourselves and say that person received a just punishment for their wrongdoing. When we see the world through a computer virus, it is easy to justify the cruelest behavior. What we don't see is that misuse of our word is putting us deeper into hell. For years, we have received the gossip and spells from the words of others, but also from the way we use our words with ourselves. We talk to ourselves constantly, and most of the time we say things like, "Oh, I look fat, I look ugly, I'm getting old, I'm losing my hair, I'm stupid, I never understand anything, I will never be good enough, and I'm never going to be perfect." Do you see how we use the word against ourselves? We must begin to understand what the word is and what the word does. If you understand the first agreement, be impeccable with your word, you begin to see all the changes that can happen in your life. Changes first in the way you deal with yourself and later in the way you deal with other people, especially those you love the most. Consider how many times you've gossiped about the person you love the most to gain the support of others for your point of view. How many times have you hooked other people's attention and spread poison about your loved one in order to make your opinion right? Your opinion is nothing but your point of view. It is not necessarily true. Your opinion comes from your beliefs, your own ego, and your own dream. We create all this poison and spread it to others just so we can feel right about our own point of view. If we adopt the first agreement and become impeccable with our word, any emotional poison will eventually be cleaned from our mind and from our communication and our personal relationships, including with our pet dog or cat. Impeccability of the word will also give you immunity from anyone putting a negative spell on you. You will only receive a negative idea if your mind is fertile ground for that idea. When you become impeccable with your word, your mind is no longer fertile ground for words that come from black magic. Instead, it is fertile for the words that come from love. You can measure the impeccability of your word by your level of self-love. How much you love yourself and how you feel about yourself are directly proportionate to the quality and integrity of your word. When you are impeccable with your word, you feel good, you feel happy, and at peace. You can transcend the dream of hell just by making the agreement to be impeccable with your word. Right now, I am planting that seed in your mind. Whether or not the seed grows depends upon how fertile your mind is for the seed to love. It is up to you to make this agreement with yourself. I am impeccable with my word. Nurture this seed, and as it grows in your mind, it will generate more seeds of love to replace the seeds of fear. This first agreement will change the kind of seeds your mind is fertile for. Be impeccable with your word. This is the first agreement that you should make if you want to be free, if you want to be happy, if you want to transcend the level of existence that is hell. It is very powerful. Use the word in the correct way. Use the word to share your love. Use white magic beginning with yourself. Tell yourself how wonderful you are, how great you are. Tell yourself how much you love yourself. Use the word to break all those teeny tiny agreements that make you suffer. It is possible. It is possible because I did it, and I'm no better than you. No, we are exactly the same. We have the same kind of brain, same kind of bodies. We are humans. If I was able to break those agreements and create new agreements, then you could do the same. If I can be impeccable with my word, why not you? Just this one agreement can change your whole life. Impeccability of the word can lead you to personal freedom, to huge success and abundance. It could take away all fear and transform it into joy and love. Just imagine what you can create with the impeccability of the word. With the impeccability of the word, you can transcend the dream of fear and live a different life. You can live in heaven in the middle of thousands of people living in hell because you are immune to that hell. You can attain the kingdom of heaven from this one agreement. Be impeccable with your word. So that's the end of chapter 2, and I just wanted to, before we go on to chapter 3, which we'll do in just a second, I just wanted to share this because this is so true. I can speak to this personally. Personally, I can speak to this. I have taken this agreement, and I did start it with myself, and when I hear people, it's funny. I was just speaking with a friend, and when I hear people say things like, "I'm so stupid," you just say it without thinking, and words are so powerful. And through learning this and kind of implementing it, I've actually created on my phone a recording of words that are good for me. And I start every short sentence with "I am." And it could be, I am an author. I am a speaker. I am well. I am love. I am lovable. And so on. And I literally have that recorded, and I listen to it. And I listen to it before I go to sleep. And I can tell you that it has had a profound impact on my life. So I could speak to this very specifically, and it's worked in my life. And so I wanted to share that. It's an amazing concept, and the idea, not just a concept, it's something you can implement, and it will have an impact on you. And that's just throughout the day. We do that. We're like, oh, I'm so stupid. Yeah, I'm not good at that. The other thing, as you're, kind of trying to start implementing these agreements, there's something else, and I learned this a long time ago. Whenever you start to say, I suck at that, or I'm no good at that, or, a perfect example for me is, I can't remember. I'm horrible at remembering people's names. Anything that you're going to say that you're bad at, start saying, I'm getting better at that. Just say it, no matter what it is. I'm getting better at remembering people's names. And you catch yourself, and it's helpful, and it's powerful, because what you're doing is you're telling yourself, I am getting better at remembering people's names, and inevitably, you're going to get better at that. It just happens. It's so powerful. So I wanted to share that. And then people asked me recently, I just started this a couple of days ago, and, people ask me, how are you? Right? And it's just a habit. We say, how are you? And a lot of times we don't even listen to hear what they're saying. But anyway, my most recent thing was fantastic. I'm fantastic, amazing, and so I'm just changed fantastic to blessed. And I wanted to create that habit, and I'm doing it. But every once in a while, fantastic slips out, and then I'll say, I'm blessed. And then I literally had 2 other people, and I said, how are you? And she said, I'm blessed. And the other lady that was with her said, I'm blessed too. So it's amazing, and so this is very powerful. So we're on to the second agreement, which is chapter 3 in the book, page 47. Don't take anything personally. So bear with me for just a second. I just want to make sure that everything is working properly. Okay, I think we're good. All right, so carry on. The second agreement. Don't take anything personally. This is huge. So I love this stuff. We're doing well. The next 3 agreements are really born from the first agreement. The second agreement is don't take anything personally. Okay, whatever happens around you, don't take it personally. Using an earlier example, if I see you on the street and I say, hey, you're stupid, without knowing you, it's not about you, it's about me. If you take it personally, then perhaps you believe you are stupid. Maybe you think to yourself, how does he know? Is he clairvoyant, or can everybody see how stupid I am? You take it personally because you agree with whatever was said. As soon as you agree, the poison goes through and you are trapped in the dream of hell. What causes you to be trapped is what we call personal importance. Personal importance, or taking things personally, is the maximum expression of selfishness because we make the assumption that everything is about me. During the period of our education or our domestication, we learn to take everything personally. We think we are responsible for everything. Me, always me. Nothing other people do is because of you. It is because of themselves. All people live in their own dream. In their own mind, they are in a completely different world from the one we live in. When we take something personal, we make the assumption that they know what is in our world, and we try to impose our world on their world. Even when a situation seems so personal, even if others insult you directly, it has nothing to do with you. What they say, what they do, and the opinions they give are according to the agreements they have in their own mind. Their point of view comes from all the programming they received during domestication. If someone gives you an opinion and says, hey, you look so fat, don't take it personally, because the truth is, this person is dealing with his or her own feelings, beliefs, and opinions. That person tried to send poison to you, and if you take it personally, then you take that poison and it becomes yours. Taking things personally makes you easy prey for these predators, the black magicians. They could hook you easily with one little opinion and feed you whatever poison they want, and because you take it personally, you eat it up. You eat all their emotional garbage, and now it becomes your garbage. But if you do not take it personally, you are immune in the middle of hell. Immunity to the poison in the middle of hell is the gift of disagreement. When you take things personally, then you feel offended, and your reaction is to defend your beliefs and create conflicts. You make something big out of something so little because you have the need to be right and make someone else wrong. You also try hard to be right by giving them your own opinions. In the same way, whatever you feel and do is just a projection of your own personal dream, a reflection of your own agreement. What you say, what you do, and the opinions you have are according to the agreements you've made. And these opinions have nothing to do with me. It is not important to me what you think about me, and I don't take what you think personally. I don't take it personally when people say, Miguel, you are the best. And I also don't take it personally when they say, Miguel, you are the worst. I know that when you are happy, you will tell me, Miguel, you are such an angel. But when you are mad at me, you will say, oh, Miguel, you are such a devil. You are so disgusting. How can you say those things? Either way, it does not affect me because I know what I am. I don't have the need to be accepted. I don't have the need to have someone tell me, Miguel, you're doing so good, or how dare you do that? No, I don't take it personally. Whatever you think, whatever you feel, I know is your problem and not my problem. It is the way you see the world. It is nothing personal because you are dealing with yourself, not with me. Others are going to have their own opinion according to their belief system. So nothing they think about me is really about me, but it is about them. You may even tell me, Miguel, what you're saying is hurting me. But it is not what I'm saying that is hurting you. It is that you have wounds that I touch by what I've said. You are hurting yourself. There's no way that I could take this personally. Not because I don't believe in you or don't trust you, but because I know that you see the world with different eyes, with your eyes. You create an entire picture or movie in your mind. In that picture, you're the director, you are the producer, you are the main actor or actress. Everyone else is a secondary actor or actress. It is your movie. The way you see that movie is according to the agreement you have made with life. Your point of view is something personal to you. It is no one's truth but yours. Then, if you get mad at me, I know you're dealing with yourself. I am the excuse for you to get mad. And you get mad because you're afraid, because you're dealing with fear. If you are not afraid, there is no way you will get mad at me. If you are not afraid, there's no way you will hate me. If you are not afraid, there is no way that you will be jealous or sad. If you live without fear, if you live with love, there is no place for any of those emotions. If you don't feel any of those emotions, it is logical that you will feel good. When you feel good, everything around you is good. When everything around you is great, everything makes you happy. You are loving everything that is around you because you're loving yourself, because you like the way you are, because you're content with you, because you're happy with your life. You're happy with the movie that you're producing, happy with your agreements with life. You are at peace, and you are happy. You live in that state of bliss where everything is so wonderful and everything is so beautiful. In that state of bliss, you are making love all the time with everything that you perceive. Whatever people do, feel, think, or say, don't take it personally. If they tell you how wonderful you are, they are not saying that because of you. You know you're wonderful. It is not necessary to believe other people who tell you that you're wonderful. Don't take anything personally. Even if someone got a gun and shot you in the head, it was nothing personal, even at that extreme. Even the opinions you have about yourself are not necessarily true. Therefore, you don't need to take whatever you hear in your own mind personally. The mind has the ability to talk to itself, but it also has the ability to hear information that is available from other realms. Sometimes you hear a voice in your mind, and you may wonder where it came from. This voice may have come from another reality in which there are living beings very similar to the human mind. The Toltecs called these beings allies. In Europe, Africa, and India, they call them the gods. Our mind also exists in the level of the gods. Our mind also lives in that reality and can perceive that reality. The mind sees with the eyes and perceives this waking reality, but the mind also sees and perceives without the eyes, although the reason is hardly aware of this perception. The mind lives in more than one dimension. There may be times when you have ideas that don't originate in your mind, but you are perceiving them with your mind. You have the right to believe or not believe these voices and the right not to take them, what they say, personally. We have a choice whether or not to believe the voices we hear within our own minds, just as we have a choice of what to believe and agree with in the dream of the planet. The mind can also talk and listen to itself. The mind is divided as your body is divided. Just as you could say, I have one hand, and I can shake my other hand and feel the other hand, the mind can talk to itself. Part of the mind is speaking and the other part is listening. It is a big problem when 1,000 parts of your mind are speaking all at the same time. This is called a mitote, remember? The mitote can be compared to a huge marketplace where thousands of people are talking and bartering at the same time. Each one has different thoughts and feelings. Each one has a different point of view. The programming in the mind, all of those agreements we've made, are not necessarily compatible with each other. Every agreement is like a separate living being. It has its own personality and its own voice. There are conflicting agreements that go against other agreements, and on until it becomes a big war in the mind. The mitote is the reason humans hardly know what they want, how they want, or when they want it. They don't agree with themselves because there are parts of the mind that want one thing and other parts that want exactly the opposite. Some part of the mind has objections to certain thoughts and actions, and another part supports the actions of the opposing thoughts. All these little living beings create inner conflict because they are alive and they each have a voice. Only by making an inventory of our agreements will we uncover all of the conflicts in the mind and eventually make some type of an order out of the chaos of the mitote. All right, I'm going to choose to stop right there because that's a perfect spot for the reading for now. And wow, what an amazing reading! This information is crazy. While I was reading that, so funny that while I was reading that, my mind was thinking these other things. Here's what my mind was doing while I was reading that. It's amazing, really, and it's really amazing what the mind can do. While I was reading that, I was thinking how much I've wanted. See, I read a lot, and I get a lot of information from reading. And as I'm reading, it helps me. I take what I read and I apply it to my life. And it's had a huge part of my, it's played a huge part of my transformation. Now, I've read before, but within the past year, what I read, it's just, it's different. I'm applying it, not just reading it. I'm absorbing it, and I'm applying it to my life. So what I was thinking while I was reading was I was thinking about how long I've wanted to share. When you hear when you read a good book, you go to a good movie, you experience something that you really like, you want to share it. It's just natural. Man, I want to share this with you, And sometimes it's funny, I've often thought, man, if I could just plug in and download the information to you, I really want to share this with you. And the thing is you can't share something with somebody if they're not willing to accept it, or they're not willing to listen. And so I've often thought about this, having this call, and it's been kind of a long time coming. But what's amazing is that, we're just building it. We didn't even advertise it, really. We just started the call this week because these days I just decide to do something, and I think it's time, and there's no procrastination most of the time now. So we started this, but as people, even the fact that we don't have, lots of people on the call right now, it's okay because it's going to build. But here's the thing. We're creating a podcast out of these calls. And the reason we're doing that is so that people can listen back to them. And they'll be available on iTunes and in the podcast app, on the iPhone and, other apps. So people will be able to literally download the podcast episodes, listen to them on their way to work or on their way home. And I'm telling you from experience, when you start your day the right way, and when I say the right way, it's getting aligned, getting some type of alignment. I know one friend that actually drives a truck, a semi-truck, for a living. She can just, my friend says, binge on them, just listen to one right after the other. But the fact of the matter is, it has created a forum in which I can share some of the things that I've wanted to share for so long. So I think it's amazing. I can tell you one thing I've learned as well is it's really challenging to enjoy a cup of coffee while you're the only speaker. So that's something that I'm just going to have to get over, and no, it's just not going to happen. So here's the thing. If there's anybody on the line that would like to share anything about the reading that we just read, or anything that's on their mind that's pertaining to the reading, you can hit *6 on your phone and unmute yourself. Feel free to jump out and share anything that might be on your mind.
Hey, David, how are you?
Awesome. Is that Efren?
Yeah.
I'm doing really well. Blessed. Thank you.
I loved what we read today. So we finished up on chapter 1 on be impeccable with your word. Something I wrote down here on a piece of paper was break black magic by making an agreement with the truth. I thought that was a good one. I was having I guess you could say issues at one of my most recent jobs, particularly in my dealings with my coworkers. I found that they would, in my mind, I found that a lot of things they were saying were, I didn't agree with a lot of things they were saying. Basically, I found them to be, at the time, I thought they were really shallow. I thought that the things they were talking about just didn't hold any value. I thought, that they gossiped. So I now, if I want to use terminology from what we read today, I realized that they were just kind of spreading some black magic but they were unaware of it. So, so at the time, I didn't. I just my first instinct was to I'd listen to it for a second, and then I'd try to help, because a lot of the times what they're really saying is, I have this problem, and I don't know how to go about addressing it. So that, and then whether they realize it or not, that's what they're saying. That's what the underlying truth is there. That they're, like you said earlier, anything that somebody says about you or someone else, what they're really doing is it has to do more with them than what the person they're saying it about.
Right.
So the problem would occur when I would try to help them. In my mind, I was helping them by giving them practical solutions to these problems. That the problem was that they didn't realize, or the problem was that I was bringing forth the idea that they had a problem they had to fix by giving them practical advice. And looking back on it, I wasn't necessarily doing it in the correct fashion. I wasn't being empathetic in the sense of I just assumed that I was helping, and a lot of times
that's our
trying to
natural
help
instinct.
makes things worse. Yeah, it is,
Yeah.
and so that taught me a lot, because I kept getting into little. They weren't necessarily arguments, but just emotionally charged dealings with people. It happened numerous times, and it was because of that. Because I was, I guess, sticking my nose where it didn't belong, and so that's how I learned about how to be impeccable with my word is being more sensitive to the fact that, like you said, like you read, people have their own dreams, people have their own agreements, and we have to not take anything personally, and just be aware that we have our own agreements, and they may not always be in accordance with other people's agreements.
Right.
So that's how I learned.
Most of the time they won't be.
That's how I learned.
That's great.
About the impeccability of your word. And I want to make just a quick point on the second agreement. We said something I wrote down was something I wrote down was, don't take what you hear in your mind personally either. That's my most recent my most recent transformation was I made a pact with myself. I've always been good at speaking positively towards others, but I was never that great at speaking positively towards myself, both in my mind and verbally. And so I made an agreement with myself not too long ago, maybe at the beginning of this year, that I was going to treat others a little more like I treat myself, and I'm going to treat myself a little more like I treat others. So I was going to be, and I say this because I was a little too, what's the word I'm looking for? Overly positive with people. You know what I mean? Instead of being truthful with them, I'd be too, I don't know what the word is.
Overly complimenting or sugarcoating or like you're saying, yeah.
So I wanted to be a little more truthful with people. And that what turns out is I just talk less. and with myself, I wanted to be a little more nurturing, like I was with others. So
right.
So I've been working now on the second agreement. Now that we now that I have this terminology to use, that's what I've been doing is identifying my mind as something, or at least the voices, the conversations in my mind, as identifying them as separate from myself. So,
right.
Yeah, this is
that's great.
Really good stuff, and I identified with it a lot, especially in my most recent use.
Yeah, no, that's great. There's so much information here. The not taking it personally, the things that you think, this is a great place, or a great place. It's a great time whenever certain thoughts come up, is again kind of watching them, as the watcher of the thoughts, and being able to say, is that true? And question ourselves, is that true? And then, can I be 100% sure that that's true? Well, no, not 100%. You know what I mean? Is it true? Well, no, it's not true. I'm just thinking it. Why? If you question, it gives us that pause to question. And a lot of times, if we were to believe everything that we thought about ourselves, a lot of times we do, and that keeps us stuck in feelings of not enough, or whatever the case may be. I was just speaking with a friend yesterday, and they mentioned that. They mentioned, man, my old patterns were coming up, and this whole thought about not being enough, and I'm like, what is that for? Why is that coming up? I've proven over and over again, and it's like, it's an interesting, it's an interesting concept for sure. And there's so many different angles to not take it to the second agreement, and we're obviously not done with this chapter, but tomorrow we'll read more about that. But the idea is that, don't take it personally. And what's great about that is when someone else is talking about you. As far as what you were saying, I did the same thing. I've done the same thing, especially in relationships, close relationships, where it's like, and I had to I learned something, and it was, did you want me to respond, or would you rather I just listen? And that was the most important thing for me, because I'm a fixer. I had some codependent tendencies in my close relationships that I realized later. And through working through that, I uncovered that. And so I wanted to fix. And I think that from what I've heard, it's a man thing. A man, look, I just want to fix it, and sometimes, there's another thing I've heard, again, many times people just want you to listen. Sometimes people just want an ear, they just want you to listen. They don't want you to fix it. You probably can't fix it. There might not even really be anything wrong. You just need to talk it out. And so as we do that, those words get sometimes mixed up, and sometimes they could kind of lean towards the black magic side, or lean towards the white magic side of blessing or cursing, I guess, in a way. It's kind of crazy when you think about it that way. But the not taking it personally concept is huge for me, because, again, that it goes into the whole thing about the ego. The ego is one of the things with the ego. Main point is what other people think is important, and in reality, it's not. And that's what this is speaking to, and I love it. It's just not. And everybody kind of thinks that the world revolves around them. We all, you know what I mean? Unless there's practice put into knowing and understanding on a daily basis to think about others, right? Then we're it's like the world is rotating around us, like we're the sun or something, and that's just the way it goes. But I think it's important. I think it's important to focus on. So I love the reading as well.
Yeah.
So
you said something you said is not to be too identified with the mind and believe everything it says, because our minds are constantly changing, and so if we did believe all these thoughts that are going on in our mind, we'd be a million different people. Each one of us.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, we would.
Every second.
That's right.
We'd be someone.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah, because there's so many different thoughts, and that's why meditation and getting quiet and getting still has been such a huge, played such a huge part in my life, in this transformation time, is because you got to quiet the mind. You've heard that saying, quiet the mind, but just kind of goes in one ear and out the other. People don't really think about it. When you think about quieting the mind, you're literally trying to get all those thoughts out for a couple minutes, even if it's just a short period of time. And that's because these thousands of voices are going on. And that noise in the head, you got to turn it down. And in order to do that, you got to get still and quiet. So, all right. So if nobody else, you good, Efren?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. So if nobody else has anything, what I will do is we will go ahead and wrap up the call. Let me, I had something here real quick I wanted to read. We'll wrap it up, and tomorrow we'll start, and we're still on the second agreement, which is some amazing stuff. So let me go ahead and pull this up. All right, so again, today's August 3rd. Great stuff. And see here, I got a cool little note I wanted to actually read. All right, so I'm going to end with a quote, and this is actually from Chapter 2 in my book, Living in the Pause. You can find out more information about the book and other things that are going on at livinginthepause.com. Truth be told, we are all created amazing and unlimited human beings. Over time, we allow circumstances, such as how we were raised, how much money we did or did not have growing up, and how those things made us feel, to attach themselves to us and create the blueprint for how we should be. That is from Chapter 2, Face Your Demons, from Living in the Pause, my book. So again, you can get more information on livinginthepause.com. You can go to our Facebook group, Living in the Pause Online Conference on Facebook, and join the group, and we can all share more amazing information. That is all I have for this episode and this call, and look forward to hearing from you soon. Take care, guys.